There's more to being a Buffalo Bills fan than breaking tables. Welcome to the More Than Breaking Tables podcast, a show about what really makes up the greatest fan base in the NFL. We're talking football with experts and fans from around the country. Here's your host and proud member of Bills Mafia, Connor Kobus.
Hello and welcome to another late night edition of More Than Breaking Tables. Connor Kobus here with my partner in crime, as always, Pasquale Maggiore. Another primetime game for the Bills and another primetime loss. And what's been tough about these games is that the whole country has seen the Bills against the Patriots and now recently to the Falcons. Two tough losses. Stock on the Bills is very low at the moment as we go into our bye week. Pasquale, how are you feeling right now?
Don't really like days like this very much. I work in an office with a bunch of randos who think they're Bills fans, but they're not really Bills fans. They know I have Bills season tickets, so as soon as they see me, they pull me aside, have to have a conversation with me about the game. A lot of their opinions are from other people's opinions on social media. Maybe they saw a meme about Coach McDermott. They want to tell me all about that. Maybe they saw a meme about Brandon Beane. They want to talk to me about that as well. So basically just being annoyed by low IQ football people was basically my morning.
Yeah, and speaking of McDermott, what did you think of the glasses look with him on the sideline?
He reminded me of my uncle.
Yeah, it was kind of, I didn't like the look. I'm like, what are we going for here? Like, I thought he was trying to reinvent himself a little bit. And we'll get into ways that I feel like he kind of mismanaged the game. But just like the Patriots game, what cost the Bills against the Falcons, more penalties, turnovers, and just their inability to stop key position players on the Atlanta Falcons offense. The game got off to such a great start for the defense, getting a turnover and a fumble. However, it's negated by a Greg Rousseau offside penalty. So that was the first of many. Trey White called for third down pass interference to give Atlanta first downs, and Bijan Robinson, if you're playing against the Bills in fantasy, start the opponent's skill players because they're going off. First it was Diggs last week. This week, Drake London and Bijan Robinson. There's holes in the defense. I know we're going to get healthy, but it's not looking good right now.
Yeah, we're dealing with a lot of Drake problems lately. Just an overall sloppy game once again. I never said to myself, though, they were out of this game. Even when they were down by 2 scores, I still thought they had what it took to get back into the game. Joshua Palmer early on with an actual deep ball from Josh Allen. But once again, Josh Allen getting sacked way too many times. As you mentioned, the turnovers already, and just a sloppy performance from start to finish for the Bills. I think maybe they had 2, 3, maybe 4 credible looking drives, and the question has to be brought up again. Is Joe Brady the right guy to lead this offense? Is Bobby Babich the right guy to lead this defense? And those conversations definitely have to be had heading into this bye week. Not to mention, everybody's going to be looking at Brandon Beane to see what he's going to do. I think people have the wrong idea of what the NFL trade deadline is all about. If you think we're going to go out there and get 5 new players, it's not going to happen. Maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 is a stretch. A lot of moves have to be made to get those players. I saw they cut Jimmy Charlo to open up a roster spot, which I'm assuming is for one of the returning defensive tackles who are on suspension. So a lot of decisions have to be made. A lot of magnifying glasses are on different positions on this team. So, just sloppy.
Yeah, and there was plenty of opportunities for the Bills to get back into the game. A lot of things broke their way. Horrible mismanage at the end of the first half with Josh throwing that pick, and we lucked out because Drake London stepped out of bounds as time ran out, or the Falcons would have been up 21 points going into halftime. So we
Let's give Taylor Rapp credit for that, though, because as we saw later on, Cole Bishop, or at the Bijan Grill's touchdown, former restaurant in downtown Buffalo. Bishop, all he had to do was push him out of bounds. But Bishop trying to make the tackle. At least, Taylor Rapp did the right thing, got him out of bounds, negating the touchdown, and we went into the half down 21-7.
Yeah, and we came out with the ball to receive in the second half, went down and scored a touchdown. So instantly you're like, the Bills are back, let's go. And the defense played well for the most part in the second half, but we just couldn't capitalize. There was a lot of momentum plays, the blocked field goal. And I'm sorry, the play that just drove me absolutely crazy is 3rd and 1, and we're running a reverse fake tush push to Elijah Moore that he fumbles the snap when we have a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback. I don't care if you got to push him, just do a quarterback sneak. Go get a yard. You basically have 2 plays to do it. But Joe Brady is trying to reinvent secret gadget plays to get first downs when it's just totally unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day Josh will talk about this when he's done playing football. Josh isn't the kind of individual who likes to throw his teammates, likes to throw his coaches under the bus. We saw that the way he handled the Stephon Diggs situation. But yeah, you got James Cook, you got Josh Allen, you have Reggie Gilliam as a fullback. You can't get that yard with one of those 3 individuals. Bring Ray Davis in, hand the ball off to Dawson Knox. Let's do something a little smarter, a little more realistic than what we're trying with this cutesy little trickery that Joe Brady seems to want to go towards in crucial points of the game.
Yeah, definitely. That was a pivotal point. We couldn't pick up crucial first downs, so that definitely sucked for the offense in the second half. And James Cook's another player who had a good game, but people wondering in the second half, why is he off the field in big play situations, 4th down, 3rd down, when he's having such a good game? And that's something they brought to the attention of McDermott with Joe Brady. Like, why is Cook's usage down when he's clearly one of the best players this year on offense? So I don't know how they're going to adjust that going into the bye week, but I'm hoping that we come out healthier and with a completely new outlook on offense and, getting the guys healthy on defense.
Yeah, and when it comes to the defense, it's not like Atlanta was doing anything outside of the box. They basically targeted Robinson and they targeted London, you know what I mean? Going back and forth to both those players, moving the ball down the field, no problems. They mixed in that other running back or fullback, whatever he was, plays here and there. But, they weren't doing anything that you couldn't say that we couldn't stop. And then you had their defensive coordinator, Ulbrich, former defensive coordinator of the Jets, former interim coach of the New York Jets, seeing him celebrate on the sidelines like they're playing in the Super Bowl made me very angry. I look back to when he was wearing that ugly Jets hat, that ugly Jets hoodie, and, obviously the Falcons were playing this game like it was maybe a playoff game. They were going above and beyond, and did the Bills, once again play down to their opponent like they have so many games so far this season?
Which I believe is the case with last week against the Patriots and this week against the Falcons. The Bills are considered one of the better teams in the league. So when teams beat them, people qualify that team as, oh, now they're a good team. I think the Bills, like you said, played down to both teams' competition. 2 bad games right in a row. I feel like this bye comes at a perfect time to kind of reassess everything. But people are starting to... The fact that these are national games, everybody saw the Bills look bad. Everybody does. Now Kansas City's starting to look better. There's teams like Indianapolis and Pittsburgh that are having good seasons that we have to address coming up later in the year. The Bills right now, they're giving them a 54% chance to win the division. What's your take on that? Do you still think it's ours to lose?
Yeah, I just want to pile on a little bit more with the NFC South really quick because normally the NFC South is on my pay no mind list. You got the Saints, who cares? You got the Panthers, who cares? You got the Falcons, who cares? You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker and a coach that has no personality, no charisma, who cares? I don't pay very close attention to the NFC South, so maybe the Bills are in the same mindset as I am. But yeah, now the division is going to be a challenge. You're neck and neck with the Patriots. The Patriots have that win over you, so they have the advantage. We'll see what happens going forward. Thankfully, we come off the bye with a game against the boring Carolina Panthers that I mentioned before we come back home to battle the Kansas City Chiefs, go back on the road to face the Miami Dolphins. So we can either go really good or really bad in the next 3 games. I'm expecting them to bounce back and figure it out in the bye week. And again, maybe Brandon Beane brings in another defensive back, maybe another wide receiver, and we add a little bit of life, energy, and charisma to what seems to be like a lifeless Bills team right now.
Yeah, and they say history repeats itself. One stat that I was looking at, the last 5 years, the Bills have had 2-game losing streaks exactly once during each of the last 5 seasons. Last year, we lost to Baltimore, got smoked, ended up going to Houston, lost again, and then reeled off a 10-1 record to win the division. So I do feel like we've been there in this position before. We still have a 4-2 record. A lot of people are flirting the word out that the Bills are frauds because of the records of the teams they've beaten. But let's be honest, Baltimore when fully healthy, is one of the better teams in this league, and you can only control who's in front of you each week on the schedule. I think one thing that we've done on this podcast that I want to change is focus on each week going 1-0 and winning that week. We think about the end game, AFC Championship in Buffalo. I know that's the end game. That's where we want to get to. But if we don't play good football each week and start stacking up victories, that's not going to be a realistic dream. We might be on the road in the championship game. So I think get healthy on this bye. Take the Carolina Panthers seriously. And any given Sunday in the NFL, come out ready to go. I hope to see a better Josh, the MVP-like Josh, and McDermott and Joe Brady to get on the same page.
Yeah, I try not to overreact in situations like this. I woke up this morning kind of miserable. The Bills lost last night. Didn't exactly have the best night last night watching the game at home. I do appreciate the 7:15 start time, though. Game was over about 10:15, 10:30. I got not a decent amount of sleep, but enough sleep. But I want to talk about, after we actually go through what happened on the field, I want to talk about my dismay with the ESPN broadcast. But let's get into the injury situation that we had to face last night. Lots of them piled up, but once again, we talk about this time and time. We're going into the bye week, so that'll give these players some time to recover. But do you have the list of the actual injuries last night? I know Palmer, Daquan Jones, and I believe there's another big impact player that I'm missing.
Benford was, I believe, hurt for a little bit, so he got a little banged up.
And I believe I heard Achilles with that, which we need to find out a lot more about that more sooner than later. That's nothing you want to joke around with.
Definitely not. And we are getting some players back from suspension that we talked about that were gone for 6 weeks, Okajobi and Heck, that are defensive linemen. So we're hoping they can step in and make a significant impact on the defense. Another guy that I'm just kind of down on right now is Keon Coleman. He had like 6 targets, 3 catches, 11. I'm really sick of the fade pass to him up the sidelines that he's just not coming down with. He got pulled for the first drive of the Patriots game. I don't know. I mean, he was a guy in the draft that the Bills kept trading back and trading back and trading back into the draft and finally selected. I feel like if he was that good, they would have picked him at the spot they had him at in the first round, or even drafted him, traded up to get him. So I don't know if I'm liking that pick. I don't see it shaking out right now. People around the league are saying to beat the Bills, you contain Josh Allen and you press their receivers man-to-man coverage. You make them beat you one-on-one, and the Bills receivers aren't doing that. So that's something we got to get corrected, whether that's bringing in a receiver who can create that separation or diagramming plays to get guys open. But I was very pleased at how, to start the game, we threw the deep pass to Josh Palmer. That was huge. But then we really never went back to that. Everything was intermediate and short, and the offense just did not look like it was clicking.
Yeah, without Kincaid, that hurt a lot. And I echo your sentiments when it comes to Keon Coleman. Not really a big fan of his demeanor in general. And then the story comes out that McDermott sat him at the beginning of the game last week for disciplinary reasons. Apparently, he has a lot of growing up to do, which is not what you want to hear. A starting wide receiver, their second year, in the NFL. Not good news on that front. But, I'm not really sure who's available to bring in via a trade. I mean, do we have to grab somebody off the waiver wires? Gabe Davis is on the practice squad. Is that going to be the move? Elevate him, bring in another secondary receiver, and just kind of mix up the formula to throw some people off here? I'm not really sure what
I mean, you got to look at your teams right now with 1-5, 0-6 records who aren't really going anywhere. Chris Olave has been a name that's been shopped around for the Saints. He's a good deep threat. Probably not going to get this guy because he's in your division, but Garrett Wilson is just wasting his career with the Jets. But they're probably not going to send him anywhere. It's tough to get a game-changing player at the trade deadline, but I'm sure there's pieces to be had. And I just think the the Bills should add one or two of those on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and we really got to evaluate our draft pick situation too, because obviously this defense needs a lot of help. We're not going to be able to fill all those needs in free agency. So this draft coming up is going to be crucial once again, heading into the new stadium, fixing this defense and getting it on the same level as our offense can be when it's clicking properly.
Yeah, and that's something that we need to see happen because we're so used to this offense putting up 30 a game. That's what they're humming when they're running the ball with Cook, play action, Josh is running, hitting his receivers down the field, and that's not what we've seen the last 2 weeks. They've lacked an identity, and they've fallen behind in these games, turning the ball over, committing penalties, which Sean McDermott's been the coach of this team for 8 years. I mean, at what point are you not going over this stuff in practice with your guys? Can't be lining up offsides on the first play of the game. I mean, come on. Like, you're extending opponents' drives, killing yourselves. And, you know, I find it ironic the Chiefs played on prime time the night before us, 0 penalties, which I think is also a little bit ridiculous. So, I don't know. We definitely got to clean it up.
Yeah, I'm not saying like the McDermott effect has worn off on the team. Just from my casual observations, I feel like McDermott is more of the CEO role where he delegates down to Joe Brady and Bobby Babich to tell the players what to do, to coach the players. And maybe, once again, we're talking about first-time coordinators, not very established coordinators in some cases, you know, not knowing what to do. And then maybe McDermott has to step in, be a little more hands-on, and go back to the way he was when he first got here, the culture changer that he was, trust the process, that whole 9 yards, because, you know, this team is not performing up to his standards since the beginning of the season, really.
Yeah, and with Bobby Babich, people are saying, should McDermott start calling the defense again? Like, what are we doing as far as to get something changed? Someone said, like, if McDermott's worried about his job, he should start calling the defense to change things up. And I'll be honest with you, Pasquale, I don't think he's worried about his job. He's been winning the division, and I don't think that's a good thing. I feel like the standard needs to be risen. We're looking at a Super Bowl now because of who we have as a quarterback, some of the other positions. I mean, going into a new era next year, I just think we have to raise the bar of what we're looking at.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a Sabres conversation because they aren't the same relevancy as the football team, but I feel like the problem that the Sabres are having is that Terry Pegula and the Pegula family are comfortable with the people that they have in charge. Therefore, they won't make changes. And it's the same situation here with the Bills. Now, obviously, the Bills have had 10 times, 50 times, 125 more times success than the Sabres have had, but they're comfortable with Bean. They're comfortable with McDermott. We're going into the new stadium, and they want to keep it status quo. I got some feedback here from our friend over at Eat Sleep List, Big Matt Johnson. Says Josh didn't look like he had much time to make reads last night. That offensive line got dominated. Not sure where the specific hole is, though. Great points there by our friend Matt Johnson. As always, check out Eat Sleep List. He's got some very great content over there on YouTube, and we will link that in the description of our program. But what do you think about those thoughts? I think, yeah, Josh, showing signs of weakness with the line. Maybe they're beaten up a little bit. We saw McGovern had a little bit of an injury scare during the last game, got beat up again last night too. So, maybe going into the bye week, that's a good time for, McGovern to have some pizza parties and get the team all together. Maybe they do some hyperbolic chambers and things like that and rest up and, get back to doing what they're good at doing.
Yeah, and McGovern was another guy who kind of got banged up yesterday, speaking of injuries in the game. The Bills' offensive line, usually one of the best units in the NFL, that gives Josh a lot of time. But I think Matt made a great point. Josh, a lot of times, was under duress, didn't have a lot of places to go, scrambling, and was sacked or only gained like 2 yards on a run. So the Falcons did a pretty good job containing him. And that's where we need our receivers to step up and make plays. We cannot just rely on Josh to essentially be Superman every game. But at the same token, he knows his standard of play, and the last 2 games with the turnovers, that's not up to Josh Allen's standard.
I think I meant to say hyperbolic chamber, not hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah, that's okay. We're not going to fault you for that.
Yeah, getting that sauna, getting that ice bath. Let's get recovered, and let's go into Charlotte and stomp the Panthers.
Absolutely, and shout out to the Bills fans, and sorry the ones that traveled to Atlanta and had to watch that game, but it just wasn't a great game to be at. Not very entertaining, but Bills Mafia always travels, and the tickets for the Panthers game are expensive. You mentioned you might try to go down there. I mean, Bills Mafia always travels well.
I'm definitely going. I'm just trying to find tickets now, and they're very expensive.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking?
So minimum like 375. We're talking 500, the very top row of the stadium. I'm trying to find 6 tickets altogether. So, if we got to break the group up into 4 and 2, we'll do that. But I'm expecting to go down next week. But right now they're pretty high.
Yeah, I've actually been to Carolina Stadium for a Bills away game. That was back when we had Tyrod Taylor and Zay Jones when he dropped that pass in the fourth quarter. We sat in the 300s in September, and the sun was beating on us, sweating ridiculously. So that was a very crappy game to be at. Bills did not win, but the tailgate was awesome. We were at Tavern on the Tracks. There's Bills Mafia's bars, so I know you'll have a great time down there with your friends, and I'm expecting hopefully the Bills bounce back strongly after this bye week.
Thank you for saying that name, Zay Jones, because when I think we have it bad, I can think back to the days of Zay Jones.
Is he still in the league? I think he might be.
He
might be coming. He might be around there somewhere.
Yeah, it might be like in maybe one of those NFC South teams. I'm not sure.
That you don't care about.
That I don't care
Are
about.
we bringing Gabe Davis back after the bye?
Why would?
Why not? Right? Throw him in there.
Yeah, I think I've had enough of Elijah Moore, so let's go.
Yep, and Coleman, if he's got attitude problems, I don't like. When we're talking about Coleman and the culture with the Bills and how that's an issue, you would think that something like Josh or one of the Deion Dawkins or one of the leaders would kind of set him straight and be like, cut the shit and get him going to where he needs to be going. This is year 2, so I'm a little disappointed that there's still issues, just because I feel like that's not the type of team that we really are.
Yeah, exactly. But, I just found out he's in Arizona, actually. So Zay Jones has made his way from the East Coast all the way almost to the West Coast. And I believe he had a stint on a West Coast team as well. I'm being told he just made some catches against Indy this weekend. So he's still a productive wide receiver.
Speaking of guys from the past, I mean, do we put in a call to Cole Beasley, creating some separation in the slot?
I don't think it's got that desperate yet. I mean, if we're going to do that, why not?
He tweeted during the game, the Bills are going to come back to win this. Appreciate the optimism, just didn't work out.
Yeah, Cole Beasley, Naaman Roosevelt. We'll bring them both in. Can I rant about ESPN for a second before
Go ahead, man. The floor is all yours.
Move on to how often do you watch Monday Night Football?
Every Monday.
I don't. With the Thursday night game, the Sunday night game, and then with Monday Night Raw being on Monday, I am pretty much done with football by then, unless the Bills are playing. I did not realize how bad the ESPN broadcast is. With all due respect to Chris Fowler, he should not be calling NFL football. The 3-man booth is atrocious. I love Dan Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee show. I love him on X, formerly known as Twitter, but I don't want to hear him calling a game. They missed the camera shot of the blocked field goal. They cut away to the other stadium when the referees were about to announce a penalty that impacted the Bills. The whole overall production and operation of Monday Night Football is atrocious. I think Spectrum News Buffalo could do a better job producing the NFL broadcast than ESPN does with that Monday night game. I hope to never watch another Monday night game with that crew. And I was very dissatisfied, not to mention with what was going on the field, but the result of the broadcast itself as well.
And I think one of the issues with that is it was one of the 2 Monday night games going on. So they gave the number 1 crew, which is Aikman and Buck, to the Bears Commanders game, and we got the D crew with Fowler. And I agree with you. It's not good. I know they do the Manning broadcast. I don't need to see that. That's like a sideshow to what's going on with the football game. Like, I don't even know why people tune into that. I'm here to watch football. So I agree, though. I think looking at the schedule the rest of the way, good news for Bills fans who don't like staying up late. We have 1 late night game the rest of the year. That's a Thursday night away game against the Texans. Everything else is 1 and 4 o'clock starts.
Yeah, I got to figure this out because, again, I'm making the trip down to Carolina. I'd like to go to Pittsburgh, so that means I'm going to have to sell probably either the Bengals game or the Eagles game. I got to figure that situation out.
Yeah.
I don't have to, but I just think
Yeah.
it's a good move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking through my text right now, our chat history. I don't see an invitation to the Panthers game from you. Is there a reason I didn't get the invite?
I mean, you can go. It's a
Oh,
bunch
so
of
now it's a pity invite. So now it's
getting
like, oh,
together.
now, yeah, okay.
Nothing to do with that at all. Nothing to do with
Okay, that's what I thought.
All right, so we have to come up with something interesting to talk about during the bye week next week. Of course, we can have kind of a recap of the first, not even a quarter, maybe a third of the NFL season that we've already seen. I'm not good with math, but we can come up with something else to discuss next week. Maybe we get a guest on to fill some
Yeah.
time. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we'll have a guest next week, and we'll be able to talk about any moves that happen, stuff around the league as we go week to week. But we do not want to skip out on a weekly dose of More Than Breaking Tables. That's for sure.
Yeah, and before we go to our plugs, I just want to take this opportunity to plug a local business that helps me out a lot. As you know, I promote local wrestling events. Coming up on Sunday, November 23rd is the Lumber City Rumble, 4 p.m. at the Renaissance Club, a big afternoon of live pro wrestling action. We're also going to be taking food donations for a local food pantry in North Tonawanda, but WNY Collectibles over in the city of Tonawanda. They are located at 102 Broad Street. So if you're familiar with Colosso Taco, basically right behind there, go to the door on the right-hand side, walk right up those stairs, and you go to a literal haven of collectibles. We're talking about starting lineup figures, McFarlane figures, wrestling figures, Funko Pops, superhero toys, Buffalo sports memorabilia. I have to go over there to get some more Christmas decorations for this upcoming Christmas season. I got to get some more decorations for the tree. I love these guys. My man Joe over there, I go over there and see him. Always provides great customer service. You can see the shelf behind me. I got a lot of stuff that I bought from those folks over there, mainly starting lineup figures, McFarlane figures, a few wrestling figures here and there. But they have some great stuff, so please check out Western New York Collectibles as we get into this holiday season. If you're looking for a gift for the sports fan in your family, check them out, and you can find them on Facebook at Western New York Collectibles Inc. They also have a wonderful eBay store where you can find a lot of stuff as well. I just want to give those guys a shout out. Once again, they've helped me with putting posters up for my wrestling events. I want to thank them for all they've done for me. But that's all I got.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a warning shout out to Boston Connor from the Pat McAfee show, trolling Bills fans that the Patriots are back.
Worst part of that show is Boston Connor.
Well, listen. We've been down this road with the Dolphins when they were good. It's the first time. So be ready for the rematch in New England, and we'll see where we are in December, okay? The division doesn't get won in October, so good luck. We're getting reinforcements coming out of a bye. We've been there before. So, yeah, Patriots, I'm ready.
Guy just yells for no reason, total nonsense. He just yells to be heard. It adds absolutely nothing to that program. Just give me Pat McAfee, AJ Hawk, and mix in the coaches that he has come on the program. Give me Dan Orlovsky once a week. Give me Jeff Passan. I'm happy. Boston Connor, he's a stooge. He's a tool. He adds nothing to that program.
All right. Strong words from Pasquale towards some of our other influencers in the media. Once again, please be sure to follow me at Connor Kobus on X and at Connor Kobus 17 on Instagram. Instagram's starting to blow up. We put up episodes each week, highlight clips. Pasquale, what would you like to plug?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram at WNY Pasquale. I'm trying to figure out a way to get this program on Twitch, but it's like breaking into a safe at Fort Knox. I'm trying to figure out a password that'll let me create a new account, but they're not making it very easy. So I'm trying to find another outlet to get this broadcast out to. So that's all I got.
Perfect. Bills head into their bye week. We'll be back with you next week. Be good, do good, God bless, and go Bills.
Go Bills. We'll talk to you back here next week on More Than Breaking Tables.